A quick one to start us off here. The legend of Zazour is an interesting one. According to the stories, Zazour is a tall Moroccan man with unique and unsettling features who was given the title fastest man in the world due to his ability to run at speeds of 48 kilometers per hour or around 30 miles per hour. This seeming superhuman feat was discovered when Zazour committed a robbery by stealing someone's purse and outran a police motorcycle. This, of course, is all just urban legend and word of mouth. Since then, Zazour has been attributed to many things. More robberies, standing in public streets in an attempt to create pileups of cars, appearing in different areas as if he was some kind of phantom. The stories of Zazour seem to grow and grow. And yet, it all started with one meme. A picture of a man with unsettling-looking features with the caption, "Invite me to your house." From this meme sprouted all of the supposed stories and legends of this fastest man alive, known as Zazour, many of these tales being generated mainly due to the man's strange and unique look. So what is the real story behind this image? Well, it's a little less dramatic than you would think. The man at the center of this image is simply a Moroccan man with unique facial features whose picture ended up going a little viral online. He's even gone live on various social media platforms a few times and stated that he is not this Zazour, he's simply just a regular guy. This just goes to show that not every single creepy internet picture, unsettling image, or what we perceive as a strange-looking individual has to have some dark origin story, despite what TikTok might want you to believe. Vanlifing has garnered much popularity over the past decade, especially with online content creators and vloggers. Essentially, a vanlifer, as the name implies, lives out of their van, typically a Sprinter van, but could also be an RV, truck, or even large SUV, and they document their travels as they drive around. One of the interesting parts of van life videos is how they handle daily tasks while still staying on the road in their van, using portable stoves to cook food, bathing in natural bodies of water, parking in a Walmart parking lot to sleep for the night. There is something inherently fascinating and freeing about this kind of lifestyle, although it's not for everyone, and it doesn't come without its own set of risks. The YouTube channel Alyssa Vanilla is a van life channel who vlogs and documents her solo travels as she drives around and lives out of her van. Much of her content revolves around what you'd expect, the highs and lows of van life, what happens when the van starts acting up, finding places to sleep and eat, meeting other van lifers, dealing with inclement weather, etc. However, one of her videos in particular stands out as a creepy reminder of the inherent dangers of solo van life. While parked at a desert spot in Arizona, Alyssa begins making her video documenting her day. And at first, all is normal. Shortly into the video, however, as she is filming some B-roll footage, she hears a vehicle coming toward her.
Oh, okay. Are you a ranger or?
No, I just live close.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of come out and check, make sure, because I know there's a lot of people that come out here that don't have a lot.
I'm fine right now. I don't know if I'll stay here, but I just wanted to check it out and see. It's pretty hot though.
Do you do this, like, is this what you do for a living? Do you, like, travel around or what?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah?
Yep.
So how long have you been doing this for?
I've been in the van for like almost a year, last November, so getting close. But I was traveling around in my car since 2020, so it's been a while.
So you've been a nomad for a while?
Yeah. Yes, I'm used to it.
And you're enjoying it, I suppose.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Alright, well, just so you know, so you're not worried, I drive by when I'm here. I actually work in Colorado. I live here, like a mile and a half from here.
Okay.
And so I kind of drive through when I'm here, just checking on people, making sure they got water, got what they need.
Cool.
you stay, I'll see you again. But that's all I'm doing.
Right.
Nothing spooky.
Okay. Well.
I had shit stolen from my house 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, I started doing that. I started making myself open to people that were out here, giving them my name so they knew who I was, so that they saw my face, and you know what? It's worked for me. Nobody steals shit from my house anymore.
And what is your name?
Johnny. If you need water, I have a hose outside that runs all the time. You're willing to stop there, fill your water jugs, whatever you need. And those that I get to know well enough that I trust, they're welcome to actually come in and use the shower a couple times a week. I'm not home. My wife is. My children are. So if you need a shower, you're welcome to, come by. Probably would work better since you're a female. It would probably work better if you came by while I was there a couple of times, just so my wife gets to know you, so she doesn't think there's something stupid going on.
Right.
But if you need a shower or something, that's not a problem. But if you wanna stop by, it's not a problem.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right.
All right.
I'll let you have your evening.
All right. Enjoy your rounds.
An obvious creepy first encounter. And although there was nothing objectively bad said during this interaction, this was flooded with a host of red flags. First off, he fills the silence with details that he probably thinks will put Alyssa at ease. He does these rounds all the time. He wants to make sure people have water. He works in Colorado. He was a victim of theft in the past. This is not unlike the behavior seen from criminals in interrogation room when they're trying to add authenticity to their stories by flooding them with minute or unrelated details. The next red flag is his immediate barrage of questions, most of them geared towards the fact that she's traveling alone and has been for quite some time. It wouldn't be too paranoid to theorize that the motive behind this line of questioning could be to gauge just how likely it would be for someone to notice if she went missing. And finally, the strange invitation to use his hose and ultimately shower at his home. One might argue done with good intentions, but given the strange nature of the rest of their interaction, better safe than sorry. He even tries to make himself seem safer by purposefully referencing his wife, again perhaps hoping this would make Alyssa less suspicious of him. And although at the end of this encounter it seems like the man is headed away, this is not the last she'll see of Johnny. She is skeeved out from this interaction, and justifiably so she decides she would finish doing her laundry and leave. But before she could, Johnny returns.
Hi. Hi.
So, you have a guy
Uh-huh.
on the mountain up there that is watching you with binoculars.
Okay, well, that's unnerving. Well, I guess I won't be staying.
Well, it's not that you can't stay. Just, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
The other side of the mountain is safer.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
He's driving a older Dodge pickup. And he told me he comes out here and offers water
Uh-huh.
to people. But I would stay away from him. He told me he parks up there and looks around to see who might need water, who might need this, who might need that. And I was like, I turned and looked and went, well, her fucking camper is right in the open.
Yeah. So did you catch him watching me, or did he just tell you that he was watching me?
When I pulled up, he had his field glasses up looking this direction, and I was like, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just looking to see if there's anybody that needs water. So anyway, he's you see that white truck?
I
underneath the tree?
I'm right
here.
in the tree view, so.
All right, come out here and I'll show you. Just so you know.
Yeah, it's also just odd that there's not really anybody out here.
Get a good description of that truck.
It was a white truck.
It's white and burgundy. Honestly, I'd move to the other side.
So, I mean, I did want to stay because it's nice out here and it's quiet, but if there's somebody watching me, then obviously I don't think I should stay out here at all.
Well, that's fine. That's your choice too.
Yeah. That's really sucks. It was really nice out here, but well, at least I got to put my laundry away. It's always easier to do housekeeping out in the open rather than in the city somewhere. So just finishing up my laundry and then I'll probably have to leave, but that's okay. Do you need anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
More red flags abound in this second and even scarier interaction with Johnny. He comes back claiming there's a man on a hill nearby watching her with binoculars. When she says that she would probably leave as a result of this, he doesn't seem quite on board with that idea and suggests that she goes to the other side of the hill instead because it's safer. Also, what a coincidence that the creepy man who is watching her is doing the exact same thing Johnny said he was doing when he first approached, making sure everyone in the area had enough water. Now, we don't know if there was a man in the truck watching her or not, but given some context clues, it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility to conclude that this story could have been made up, and he was trying to lure Alyssa to the other side of the hill, outside of the view of the road, in order to get her alone to do something terrible. This is only reinforced by this incredibly creepy moment.
That's okay. Do you need anything?
No.
Okay.
What is going through his head in this moment, what he is contemplating doing or not doing, is left up to our imagination. But bets are it wasn't good, and Alyssa is very fortunate to have made it out unscathed. In situations like this, better to be safe than sorry. Trust your instincts. Stay alive. The Korean term mukbang literally translates to eating broadcast. For those of you who might be unfamiliar with the popularity that these mukbangs or eating broadcasts have garnered over the past decade, here's a brief summary of what happens. An individual sits in front of a camera, typically with a full microphone setup as well, and while recording themselves, the host of the video consumes various pieces of food for the camera. In many mukbangs, the host of the video will chat with the audience if being done live, or add commentary between bites if the mukbang is pre-recorded. Oftentimes, also, the creator of the video will try to make a pleasing aesthetic when it comes to the preparation of the food to make it look and even sound as appealing as possible. However, in other cases, the appeal comes from the food looking as unappealing as possible. And finally, one large part of the equation when it comes to mukbangs is the quantity of food. A typical mukbanger will consume massive quantities of food on the video or live stream for the audience, which has sparked some controversy as to the safety of performing such eating broadcasts. However, they still continue to grow in popularity, especially within offshoots of the ASMR community. A woman by the name of Pan Yaoting was working as a waitress in China when she decided one day that she would try her hand at live streaming. She immediately began finding great success in live streaming mukbangs, so much so that eventually she would quit her job and live stream mukbangs full-time. She started pulling in massive numbers, high revenue, and even garnered praise and gifts from fans. While her social media clout was soaring though, Pan's family was more concerned about what all the mukbang live streams were doing to her health. She was gaining a significant amount of weight and seemed to be growing more and more unhealthy. Eventually, as her popularity continued to rise, Pan was able to rent a separate studio and invest in a more professional setup for her live streaming sessions. But with this upgrade in setup also came an increase in the amount of food she was consuming per live stream. She often would consume upwards of 20 pounds of food in one live stream, and in total would average nearly 10 hours a day eating. This rigorous schedule of unhealthy eating led to many hospitalizations, one bad one in particular due to gastric bleeding. However, she continued streaming. On July 14, 2024, Pan Yaoting felt a sharp pain in her stomach during one of her marathon live streams. Shortly after, authorities found her in her studio dead. Upon her autopsy, authorities discovered a stomach tear, which contributed to her very deformed-looking abdomen. Her stomach was also filled with undigested food. The true cause of death appears to have been a sudden heart attack brought on by increased pressure on her arteries. At the time of making this video, the actual video of the last livestream of Pan Yaoting has not been made available for the public. However, the screenshots you are seeing have been circulated around the internet. Around 2020, a woman living in Washington went to Goodwill, which is a thrift store, to shop. While she was there, she came across an old, empty photobook, and liking the design, she purchased it. When she took it home, she began flipping through the photobook just to make sure it was totally empty. But to her surprise, it wasn't. There was one picture still in the photobook, presumably from the previous owner. And at first, the picture did not initially appear to be anything sinister. However, the more she looked and analyzed it, the more eerie it became. Now, at first, you may not necessarily notice anything strange about this picture, but let's go through some of the elements of the photograph that might contribute to its unsettling nature. First of all, the picture is not recent. It is estimated that the picture might be from the 80s or 90s. The version you're looking at now, which still looks pretty old, has been edited and color corrected for better viewing. Looking at the contents of the photo itself, there were a few main elements here. On the leftmost side of the image is what appears to be a man, lying down on the ground. As you look closer, it appears that his hands and feet are tied behind him. On the right-hand side of the picture is another man, not lying down like the first man, but sitting up, partially submerged in what seems to be water. Similar to the first man, he also appears to have his hands and feet tied. On the bottom of the picture is the shadow of what could possibly be a third man, holding some kind of implement. And then there is, of course, the final person who took the picture. Not shown, but implied. When you combine all these elements together, it starts to paint a fairly unsettling picture. And the woman who bought the photo book and discovered this picture inside of it thought so as well. She quickly posted copies of the picture to her true crime discussion Facebook group, and also claimed to give the photo to police in the event that it could help with some active cold case. The picture also found its way to other internet forums, sprouting a bevy of different theories as to what was going on in the picture, and what type of situation was being photographed there. The three main theories that have arisen are the following. Theory 1. This is a picture of some kind of low-budget horror movie set, not outside the realm of possibility, or could be some friends simply messing around. Theory 2. The photo was taken during either a military training exercise or a fraternity hazing. Also a possibility, although that's hard to tell based on the attire, since that's not clearly shown in the photograph. Theory 3. Taken during criminal activity. Probably the most dazzling of the theories is the idea that this picture belonged to some kind of killer or criminal organization, and at the time of taking this photograph, these men were in true danger of losing their lives. None of these theories could be proven due to a lack of information, and as of the making of this video, no police departments have given any update in regards to the photo. The next entry is not one single entry, but a series of pictures found online taken mere moments before a deadly disaster or event. Ronaldo de Sago was a politician in the Philippines who was involved in a variety of peacekeeping movements. He was celebrating New Year's Day with his family in 2011 when they decided they would stop by the side of the road near a row of parked cars to take a family picture. As Dagza was taking the picture, a gunshot rang out, and moments later, Dagza would fall to the ground, dead. It turns out a convicted robber by the name of Arnel Buenaflor, who was a robber out on parole, shot Dagza with a .45 caliber pistol. He also had two suspected accomplices. The motive for shooting Dagza would be discussed and contested, with some believing that the murder was motivated by Dagza's peacekeeping efforts. The most eerie part of the whole encounter, however, was the fact that Dagza actually was able to snap the photograph he was taking of his family before Arnel pulled the trigger. And in the photo, you clearly see Arnel holding a gun and pointing it right at Dagza. This photograph was crucial in identifying Dagza's killer. Darsh Patel was a 22-year-old college student going to New Jersey's Rutgers University. In September of 2014, Darsh and 5 friends were hiking in the Apshua Preserve, which is a nearly 600-acre nature preserve near Milford, New Jersey. It is a fairly popular hiking, bicycling, horseback riding, and fishing spot. During their hike, Patel and his friends came across a couple that were hiking on the same trail. They seemed shaken, and when they were asked what was wrong, the couple said that they had seen and were potentially being followed by a black bear. They warned Patel and his friends not to go on that trail. Despite the warning, Patel and his friends cautiously entered the hiking trail area, but seeing no sign of the bear and figuring they were such a big group they would be okay, they decided to hike on the trail anyway. Soon, however, they did find the bear. The bear began aggressively following them, which prompted the group to split up. When they all caught up with each other a little while later, Patel was the only member of the group that was unaccounted for. After searching for him for a little while, they made a call to the police, and at around 3:30 p.m. that day, the police arrived and a search for Patel was started. Nearly 3 hours later, Patel's remains were found. He had been mauled and killed by the black bear. The bear itself was still circling Patel's remains. Authorities fired 2 shots at the bear, one which made contact with his shoulder and one fatal shot onto its jaw. Upon examination, they found clothes, human hair, and human flesh in the stomach of the bear. This was the last photo found on Patel's phone, showing the bear making its way toward him right before the deadly attack. In January of 2023, a TikTok influencer by the name of Sharath Kumar was trying to film a video to post online at Arasingundi Falls in India. He had a cameraman with him, and with the cameraman filming, Kumar approached the edge of the falls in order to get a better shot for the video, despite the warnings surrounding the falls to keep away from the edge. Ultimately, Kumar lost his balance due to the slippery rock and fell into the water, which was churning heavily due to the pressure from the waterfall. His cameraman thought he might resurface, but after a little while of waiting, they realized that this was more serious than they thought, and they called for help. A search was initiated and Kumar's body was found a little while later. He had been swept away by the strong current and pushed under by the immense pressure of the water. These are some of the final images of his last video, moments before he fell into the water. We've displayed some eerie urban exploration videos here before. That's because it's the gift that keeps on giving as far as unsettling encounters go. Exploring or trespassing in an abandoned, forgotten building or area alone is simply asking to have some weird encounters. These videos can be wildly entertaining and give us the ability to live vicariously through the person brave enough to visit these creepy areas. That applies very well to this entry. In 2022, a YouTuber and urban explorer by the name of Jared Coker Urbex uploaded a video of himself exploring an abandoned dog treat manufacturing factory in Wichita, Kansas. At first, everything's going according to plan. The factory is sufficiently creepy and fascinating to explore as he makes his way around the building. Many boxes, parts, and equipment are still scattered around. However, after a little while, Jared notices something that could indicate he might not be alone here for much longer.
Uh-oh. There's a car right there. I can't figure that should be too much of a problem for me though, because the way I'm going to go out is completely circling around here like I did to get in, so... Oh, they're out of their car. Oh, they're coming in the gate. They're coming in the gate. On second thought, I might just want to wrap this up a little quicker here. I want to see where he goes though. Yeah, if I'm going to leave here, I'm going to need to know exactly where he's headed towards. Oh crap. He's really coming all the way in here. He's opening the second gate. Now I'm really concerned. He's gonna go around where I can't see him. Huh. I really do gotta get out of here now.
Upon seeing a car entering the premises, Jared starts to become a little worried. He still feels like he can make it out of the factory and off the grounds before he's spotted. But as the red car comes closer and closer, even making its way past the second gate, even closer to the factory, Jared decides it's really time to go. Things get even a little more urgent when he spots the stranger and realizes he might be holding a weapon.
Someone's right out there. couldn't tell what he was holding. Oh my God. Was that a gunshot? I think it was. He had something in his hand too. It must have been a gun.
The stakes are raised yet again. During his expedient exit, Jared hears a loud boom that resembles the firing of a gun. Jared's need to remove himself from the factory and the surrounding area intensifies as he keeps on trying to find an exit. However, he doesn't know where the stranger is, so choosing the right means of egress will be critical.
No, don't make sounds. No, no, no. The worst thing is I don't know where he is. I've got several different possible ways I could get out of here, but I don't know which side he's on, so I don't know which sides to avoid. Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I think we just have to go for it.
Now deciding he needs to just go for it, Jared picks an exit and commits. However, he chooses incorrectly.
We gotta get to the creek. I don't see him anywhere. I don't like being out in the open like this. Whoa, whoa,
Stop right there.
whoa.
Who else is with you?
Oh, it's just me. You scared me to death.
Okay, get over there now.
What?
Sit down. Give you handcuffs.
Huh?
Put them on. Got it?
Okay.
Either I can put them on or you can put them on. Take your pick.
I've never put on handcuffs before.
Just put them on each side of you. How's that?
Well,
Put them in front of you. That way you can carry them in front, okay?
what's gonna happen?
What's going to happen is the police is going to come and then you take your name and they'll get you for criminal trespassing. It's nothing these days. A lot better than me shooting you, isn't it?
Was that what I heard?
Yeah.
What'd you shoot at?
Shoot it. See people, I shoot at them.
There
If
was
they
someone-
run, you shoot. There you go. Okay?
Is there someone else here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be cool, nothing will happen, okay?
Alright.
I already shot one guy this way, the other one. It's alright. I'm not gonna shoot you. don't you see something says a use of deadly force? What do you think that is?
I thought that was kids spray paint.
No, that's me telling you I'll shoot you. So where you from?
The KC area.
What are you doing down here?
I'm bowling in a tournament.
Bowling tournament?
Yeah.
That's good. So what made you come here?
Well, heard of it. It seemed really epic. You know, I got my camera. I like to take photos and stuff.
Nobody else is with you, right?
No, it's just me.
Okay, if I see somebody, I'm gonna end up probably shooting them.
Oh no, if I
Okay.
were with someone and I know you shoot people, I would have gotten them.
Okay. I just don't want, they say wait, they scare me, I'll shoot in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just life. What we're gonna do is we'll throw your camera and your bag in the trunk, okay?
Okay.
I'll put my gun in there too. All right?
Alright.
We'll get in a little red cart, we'll just drive up here, set everything out, police will come, they'll ask you for your driver's license, and they'll give you a little ticket.
Jared is confronted by an armed man who tells him to stop, threatens him with deadly force, and tells him to handcuff himself. After Jared complies, the man walks Jared to his vehicle where he says the police will arrive and book him for trespassing. All the while, the stranger describes to Jared how willing he is to shoot any trespassers that show up on the property, even referencing shooting someone that very week. Jared concludes this encounter with a wrap-up at the end.
And that's where it cuts off. At the end there, you can kind of hear me do a little fake cough to muffle the sound that this camera makes when you start or stop a video, just so that the guy wouldn't have known that I was recording that whole exchange. We got into his car and drove around to the front of this giant factory to wait over at the front entrance for the cops to come, of course. And it took the cops at bare minimum an hour to an hour and a half just to show up. Eventually, they read me my rights and everything. I got into the cop car. But actually, before all that happened, while we were still out front talking, all four of us, we were seeing two silhouettes of a couple other kids headed towards that bridge to go down and under to get to the factory the same way I did. And this dude literally looks at both cops and tells them if he sees anyone else in there tonight, he's just gonna shoot him. And obviously the cop said, please don't do that, but I couldn't believe he looked two police officers right in the eye and said he was just gonna go shoot people. Either way, that's the last I really heard. They took me away, off to the local county jail, and once we get there, the guy cop is asking me all the usual kind of cop questions and stuff. We're sitting in the parking lot, and this is about 15 minutes later. I hear a call come in over his radio, and that call is a shooting at the exact same location they had just taken me from.
If this video is 100% legitimate, this is quite a terrifying situation to be in. Alone with only your camera, who knows if anyone knows where you are, since technically you are trespassing, and now an armed man is confronting you with no one else around and forcing you to handcuff yourself before he takes you to his vehicle. Jared is very fortunate that at the very least the stranger was being honest about calling the police to report the trespassing, instead of doing something much more sinister. For all of you who participate in urban exploration, whether it's for a YouTube channel or for fun, remember to take every precaution possible to ensure you never end up in a situation as dangerous as this one. Harry Houdini is very likely the most widely known magician of all time, and although he started his career doing card tricks and sleight of hand, he eventually moved on to and is now primarily known for his elaborate and mystifying escapes. He famously performed a complicated straitjacket escape, jumped off the Harvard Bridge covered in shackles and chains. He escaped handcuffed and chained inside of an oversized milk can, and he even performed the Chinese water torture cell escape, an escape where he would be hung upside down and lowered into a tank filled with water with a glass front, so he was totally visible to the audience. Houdini was one of the best magicians and escape artists in the world. However, there was one escape that even Houdini could not complete. In this trick, Houdini was to be buried in a pit 6 feet deep, just him alone, no container or casket. After the dirt was covering him, he would attempt his escape. However, after Houdini was buried and began attempting to dig his way out of this makeshift grave to the surface, he began to panic and called for help. Fortunately, despite his panic state, his hand managed to break the surface of the ground, and safety crews were able to pull the unconscious Houdini from the pit. He later wrote in his notes concerning the escape that it was very dangerous, and the weight of the earth is killing. Houdini obviously went on to inspire countless other magicians and escape artists who would attempt many of his escapes and succeed, even putting their own twist on the formula. One such magician who was inspired greatly by Houdini was a man named Joe Burrus. After building a moderately successful career as a magician and escape artist, he fixed his sights on a higher goal. He was quoted as saying, "I consider myself a master of illusion and escape artist. I believe I'm the next Houdini, and greater." Eventually, he attempted his own version of the Houdini buried alive escape, in which Burrus would get into a wooden coffin, be lowered 6 feet under the ground, and dirt would be poured on top of him until he was totally covered, and he would attempt to escape. And he was successful. This success fueled his desire to go even bigger than Houdini ever attempted. In 1992, Joe decided that he would raise the stakes of the escape by getting in a plexiglass coffin he designed himself, and having dirt and cement poured on top of him. So, donned in a tuxedo and with a live crowd watching him, including his parents and siblings, Joe got into the coffin, which was lowered into the 6-foot deep hole, had the chains put around him, the coffin was shut, and crews began pouring the dirt and cement over the hole. After a few moments, though, Joe appeared to panic and began knocking on the lid of the casket asking for them to open it. So the crews stopped pouring the cement and quickly jumped into the hole and removed the lid from the casket to see what was wrong. Joe told them that the chain that was around him was a little too tight on his neck and it was choking him, and he asked them to loosen it a little. After they loosened it, they confirmed with him one more time if he really wanted to go through with the escape. It wasn't too late to call it off. However, Joe said no, he was okay now and he just wanted to continue with the escape. So just like before, they closed the lid and the crews layered 3 feet of dirt into the hole, followed by 3 feet of cement. And as the crew finished pouring the cement, the truck pulled away and something truly tragic happened. As the cement truck pulled away, the entire dirt and cement mixture dropped. The cement was too heavy and crushed the dirt beneath, pushing against the plexiglass coffin. The coffin shattered, burying Joe underneath. The crews jumped into action as quick as they could to dig Joe out, but it was too late. By the time they reached him, Joe Burrus was deceased. It was later discovered that when making the plexiglass coffin, the additional weight of the hardened cement wasn't taken into consideration, which inevitably led to the deadly accident. I hope you enjoyed this latest edition of Strange and Disturbing Things Found Online. As is typical, since some of these entries are pretty dark, here are some cute animals as a palate cleanser. See you all in the next one.